Hello, everyone. Welcome to Osquery office hours. Here we are, mid-September in New England here. It's rainy. Don't know what the weather's like with the rest of you are, but hopefully you're all having fun. Let's see. First section of our meeting is announcements and highlights. Probably since the last meeting, we declared 5.5.1 stable. So yay, that's now stable. I think maybe I forgot to update the website though, so I should go do that and write up automation tickets for it. I think that's the only announcement I've got. I don't know if other people have any.
People can find the package for the new release on the package managers.
It went out to package managers and it's on GitHub.
Okay.
So I should update the website so the schemas get updated and like the download links get updated.
Once you've done that, we can tweet about it.
Oh yeah, it's always a good idea. Do you have the Twitter account, Mike?
No, I have QueryCon, but not Osquery.
I do. I don't know if that's a role you want to take or if I should just keep doing it.
I'm not looking to do Twitter, so yeah, I'm cool with it.
Okay. Okay. So let's see. Next section of our meeting is questions, issues, PRs, anything people want to discuss. I see Charbel wrote something down.
Just had a quick question that I want to double check. Like Yara events is not working or present on Windows, right?
My recollection is that Yara is not Windows compatible.
Yara is, but the Yara events table, because that would require the file events table, and file events only uses like i95fs events, and it's only on Linux and Mac, right?
Don't we have Windows FIM though? So like that sounds like a porting effort.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, I have a little bit of latency. I didn't hear anything.
The Windows FIM is basically limited to NTFS journal events, and I think you're right. Yara events isn't Windows compatible. I do see it on the schema though. Was that what you were getting at?
It's mislabeled. I'll just do a quick fix.
Okay.
Also, kind of an announcement. Usually Zach's the one, but he's not here. Marcos, I think most of you met, joined Fleet, and we'll kind of work on the Windows stuff.
Marcos had you were talking to us about Windows Advented stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
perhaps a Windows FIM event that could be plugged into the Yara.
Yeah, I think that will be a good addition. Exactly.
Well, welcome. Really great to see you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Any other questions from the world that people want to take a crack at? If not, agenda. So I think we talked about cutting 5.6 mid-September. And mid-September.
It seems premature to start that, doesn't it? What are some recent things that we've managed to accomplish?
There's not much that's merged in.
Yeah.
Though there are things that have been approved but not yet merged, mostly small scale stuff. Let's see what's I'm looking at the 560 milestone. So when we talked about it last time, we sort of said that we thought there was value in cutting releases even if very little has changed. So if we think that's true, then I kind of think we should try and cut one this week.
Okay, then maybe we should triage this milestone a little bit.
Yeah, if anything, there's, I mean, they are already approved, but there were a couple of, I think, important bug fixes, especially the memory leak one. So yeah, I guess that.
Which one?
The memory leak on Windows when retrieving users, so the users and group service.
Oh, this
that
is
continuously
7755.
Yeah, sorry, that was.
Yeah. Okay, and
Oh,
I think
yeah,
I approved that even.
It is that. Yeah, exactly. So.
Okay, so if I just look at this, we've got a table bug around Docker from Zach that we could just merge. It's approved. We have some Cogen stuff from Artemist, which I assume Fleet's going to slowly build out the website using. We've got this memory leak, which is approved. More Cogen for schema stuff. Some doc changes. All that seems pretty safe to just merge. Stefano, if you're up for going through, I think I probably, yeah, I did these approvals. So if you want to just glance at them for 30 seconds, then do the merging, then that at least ensures that the two of us have looked at it, or Alessandro, you're also here. But I think we can probably just go through and merge those. What do we have for open PRs inside this milestone? I see probably some from Alessandro that are, I bet, mergeable, but I haven't looked at them yet. So I don't know. I'll try and review these this week, and maybe we can get a bunch more merged. Since kind of looks like y'all are ready. So, anything anyone else wants to advocate for or against?
There's a PR from a first-time contributor about adding a column to ES process events table. I kind of want to suggest some changes. I'll review it. I think we can get more code signing flags, and not just if it's like ad hoc signed or not. So I'll leave a review and like give them like a sample code on how to go about doing it. It'd be nice to get that in if they can get it done.
Which PR number is this?
7726.
Thank you.
I just noticed that they did sign the CLA and all that.
How does, so my recollection is that there is a fair amount of performance impact pulling some of the process signing stuff.
This is just pulling the flags. This is not paging in binary into the memory and comparing the CD hash. There's just what flags are present.
Okay, so you think that this is a negligible performance impact?
I think so, but I'll also
Okay,
I have a piece of code where I can try that out.
that'd be great. Since I did give Artemis a bit of a hard time last time on adding columns to the process table.
So we are just, yeah, so I think we'll just have one column and we'll represent flags as like a comma separated values, basically, like we do.
Do you want to do that or a bit mask?
Yeah, it's a bit mask. We don't want to do a bit mask. We want a human readable string. Basically what we have done for the BSD flags in the file table.
One of the things that's always awkward about comma delimited strings is just parsing whether values are set can be surprisingly ugly. Just to get edge cases right around like start of string, end of string, commas, substring nonsense.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's something cleaner. We haven't ever experimented with it, but but maybe a question for the group. What do we think about like JSON? Since like returning JSON arrays is in theory handleable by SQL.
Yeah, we just haven't done it. I know a couple of people who fork Osquery kind of do it.
I heard like you were talking about JSON.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
JSON is one of the column values. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think there might be another case in the container the events table, for instance, that Alchemist is working on and moving forward. I recall some of that information is inside JSON, and it didn't have necessarily a fixed structure. So yeah, the next best thing is just to have a column display that and have the user pass it.
I think I would be tentatively in favor of JSON arrays over straight comma delimited strings. Just I care a lot about parsing out data later on, and parsing comma delimited strings always ends up being very fraught, right? Because if you're looking for X, but the word but X is a subset of something else, then like how do you actually detect that you have X and not the other thing? So stuff like that just gets real hard. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I faced that problem too, and I always had to look up like how do you split a string in SQLite, and then it's never. With CS comma separated values, it's been easier, but some of the other like Google Chrome version number is such a pain, to be honest. And
yeah, that's another one. Anyone want to write a version comparison function? I keep meaning to. Then we can just
as a
collate.
SQLite semver function.
Sort of. Chrome isn't actually semver, so we don't want semver. But we should. It is pretty easy to write C++ version comparison algorithms or link to a headers only library. And then we can start doing things like collating columns on it. And then you can do things like say when Chrome version is greater than 90, and the magic happens. I just get too tangled in C++, so I haven't written that yet. I took a few stabs at it and never liked how it came out. I might get one of the Collide people to write one in the next couple of months, but I don't know if that's something y'all are interested in. I don't know. Maybe commas are fine. Split on the commas. I don't know. I'd probably think about JSON maybe, but I don't know. Your call, I guess. Yeah. Do we have anything else people want to chat about, or is it just a quiet week?
Let's do this for another 10 minutes. Yeah.
I can briefly share what I'm planning on working on endpoint security.
Yeah,
with
sure.
macOS Ventura. There are a couple of new events: login, logout events, X-Protect events, screen share events. The issue is these are not present in the older versions, of course. So, kind of how to handle that logic as well. Like if Ventura, then link the symbols. If not, then it's a bit of a pain. But it'll be nice to have these, especially login, logout events. A lot of compliance questions, I think, can be answered with those.
I've got a question for you. maybe you know, maybe you don't know. So you wrote the Mac OS PW policy table recently,
Password policy table, yeah.
which I assume comes because Fleet is doing stuff to help with compliance and password policies, or he's a big ask.
Yeah.
Have you all looked at Linux yet?
It's been on some GitHub issue, but haven't looked at Linux yet.
Mhm.
Are there any pointers, or is it just like PAM, or?
Oh, it's a deep mess. I'll see if I have a doc I can share with you.
Okay.
There is some of it's in PAM, some of it is in. There's like 3 different subsystems I've found data in, and I don't know that there's any consistent access to it. It's not like, you know, link this one thing and then you get everything. It's like, well, this one's a shell script and this one's PAM and this one's a C library.
You mean like the NIS service, which I mean, as far as I know, in general, users for handling users, there is a service that multiplexes the request for that user information between the services that are configured inside a file.
Is
And
this
so it decided,
NSS?
yeah, oh yeah, sorry, I said NIS. Anyway, NSS, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so maybe the information of the file of the user is on text, or maybe is through LDAP.
There might be some
etc.
in there.
And there is, yeah, normally there is a C API you can call to get the user information, and it will automatically interrogate the correct, let's say, server that contains the data. But yeah,
I don't know if any of those have the password policy data. So checking my notes about this, it shows up in PAM, Etsy security, and Etsy login defs, depending on which distribution and which tools are installed. And there might be more, but those are the ones I found last time I looked around.
I'm only aware of the PAM one, but yeah.
Yeah, there's feel free to shove these into whatever your tracking issue is. There may be others, but those are the ones I found.
Do you mind if I add this to the notes on our, or I'll just add it internally, but also
Absolutely. Feel free to take the thing I just sent you and do whatever you wish with it. That was the result of like 15 minutes of Google searching 6 months ago. So not a lot of proprietary information in that list.
There's probably something, yeah, I don't know much of this stuff, but probably something also through LDAP, because I would expect in that case that the policy is not on the machine, but on the domain. So you have to retrieve that information, which is probably remote, through the LDAP API, I would guess. But yeah.
Yeah, certainly possible. I have no knowledge of whether anyone has built that kind of shim. I feel like there's always this perpetual make Linux part of an Active Directory domain stuff, and like whether anyone's plumbed it all together, I don't know.
Well, again, with the LDAP, you have APIs with LDAP APIs. Also, the Windows domains speak that kind of protocol.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I recently encountered on Linux /proc/keys. Does anyone know about that?
Those are the crypto keys that are supported, or crypto algorithms. I don't know.
It's documented as being like what cryptographic keys the current thread has access to.
Yeah.
And it's used by some commercial,
Lux.
probably Luke's. I see it used by like CrowdStrike. So trying to understand if stuff's installed correctly ends up looking like parsing that. Kind of feels like it might be an okay table, along with, we've got certificates, things like it. Keys seems like an okay thing, but I'm not really sure what the thread access model is there and how that really fits. Because if this is something that's like per user, it doesn't fit as well inside Osquery. So not totally sure how that fits yet. So if anyone knows about that, I opened a table request ticket for it, so feel free to comment there. Could just be a quiet meeting today.
Just listening. I don't have any advice on the questions you've asked.
Maybe this is just, I don't know, a random thing I've noticed lately. I will open an issue, but so like the first PR that I've opened about this issue around audit, which is 7759, which fixes some issues with the subscriber side of the process file events table, which again is a table on Linux that uses audit to show. Basically, it's the FIM implementation using audit. And there was an error when we did some refactor back, and it was the only table not working anymore. And with that fix, it works. It will work again.
I approved it.
But okay, but I've noticed that there's also apparently, there's also a second problem that apparently shows up, especially on newer kernels. But in general, the issue with it is that to provide the events, we have to enable not only all the syscalls for processes to be followed, because the table also shows which process have done which file system operation, but also we have to track all the syscalls that can write something to disk, and those are a lot, and also a lot quite chatty. And I basically noticed that the socket between the kernel and user space, the one that delivers the audit events, gets filled up pretty fast, pretty easily, even just doing an SSH connection to the machine. And so basically, it's a bit not working. That table is not working. There are too many events being generated. So there's some. I'm not sure right now what we can do. I was thinking,
can we
if
remove
it
the
was possible
open
to
syscall, open@, or I think that's the
recall if-
chattiest one, right?
I don't even recall if is it there? I recall there's a long list. I don't recall the precise list. Let me check it. So, it's there. You're right. Open by handle at. I haven't yet tried to remove some of those syscalls. Yeah.
Yeah, it is
Even-
extremely noisy.
Yeah, another alternative was, I was thinking, it's a bit limiting for future use of the publisher, but we could also try to install rules that filter by path, and the paths are the ones provided by the user from the configuration file. We currently, I think we currently don't do it because when we have a single publisher, and anyway we have a single way of communication, or a single socket way of communication between the kernel and the user space. So if we are filtering events, but there is another system that needs those events, we are removing events for that other system. So let's say, like in this specific case, we have to feed process events to the process file events table and also to the process events table. And let's say that we were going to make some filters on path to the executable, but that's only specific for a table. We are affecting both tables. But in this specific case, and at least currently for Osquery and Fin, the only user for those events is the process file events table. But yeah, that's a bit ad hoc.
Didn't Alessandro struggle a bit with this in BPF? On the BPF side, just like processing the volume of data to handle file renames was hard, so we sort of like gave up on one specific piece of data because it let us reduce the ingest. Is that familiar sounding?
Is
Yeah,
that
but
path?
it's-
That's the path,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, but
audit D sounds maybe harder since as you called out, right, the socket is shared across like all consumers. So I don't know, can we just process it faster or like dedicate a thread to it, or we just like, yeah, go use BPF if you have a lot.
So first of all, the path issue is, it's different from from Fin. The path issue was specific to processes, and again was only a piece of an event that was causing to either there was too much logic and instruction to execute that the BPF probe could not support, or in general also memory usage. But yeah, with audit you cannot like pick and choose. You can pick and choose syscalls, but when you don't use that syscall, you lose like the entirety of the information that syscall gives you. But yeah, as again, I can try effectively, as Sharon was suggesting, to disable open syscall to see if it improves. As for handling them faster, so technically, I mean, yes and no. So currently I introduced throttling to reduce the case where we are using too much memory suddenly, or even when actually the thread that reads from the netlink socket is too fast compared to what is going to process the records. So what happens is that the buffer and the backlog increases indefinitely. I could try. I haven't exposed the flag for it. I could try to increase that, but actually, when I was looking at things, as far as I recall, it didn't get it did not get throttled, and even giving a bigger backlog. So these are a bit of details. In the kernel, you also have an additional buffering backlog for those events. You can increase the size of it. I've increased the size of it, but yeah, the events appear to be written really too fast, even for the user space thread to empty the socket fast enough.
Like how
Like,
how
yeah.
how do other things solve this? Do they just solve this by not using audit D anymore?
I don't. Yeah, I mean, or well, I don't know if anyone else is really using audit for doing theme like we do. And again, like we do is that we are installing syscall that are taking events system wide, while technically we are configuring and telling Osquery to, but we are actually only interested in these folders, and we do so we do filtering on Osquery side, but then the kernel has to send too many events, and so I think people install rules with filters at the kernel level to reduce the amount of records events being gathered, if anything.
I remember back then there was like a blueprint about using AudisP to multiplex audit connections. Would that kind of solve that, or not really?
Well, it would. So it wouldn't solve on its own the issue of the socket being filled up.
Okay.
It would help, although, well, okay, it might help in the case Osquery has eventually different subscribers, so different consumers of file events that don't want to be limited by the file paths configuration.
So
But
AudisP would also mean there's a single netlink socket?
Yeah. So what this does is that it still is the only one that. So instead of having Osquery talk with the only one that can talk with netlink, the only one will be Odis, but then Odis multiplies the duplicates, or multiplies the events for each receiver, which means that if you want all receivers to get the events and not be impacted by filtering at the kernel level, you don't have to put filters in the rules. But then we are back at the problem that we do want to do that to reduce the amount of events being ingested through that socket. So yeah. Yeah, as I said, I've only done a bit of investigation. I don't have necessarily news about any additional work being done on that right now. But yeah, just figure we could chat about it briefly.
My suspicion is that probably the answer is to move to BPF.
Yes, yeah, sort of. I mean, yeah, you can probably get a bit more surgical and accept to get less information for getting, well, for getting for being sure, sort of sure to get the information, because right now, it mostly is dropping all the theme events. So yeah, but we know that given that the implementation present in Osquery right now also BPF has to hook into syscalls too. And there are ways to not do that, but they are only supported by, well, at least by recent kernels. So like using BTF and then installing probes in the kernel instead. Kernel function instead of syscalls.
Okay. Anything else folks want to talk about? If not, I say we end a little early. Okay. Marcos, welcome again.
Okay.
I'll try
you.
and review PRs that are hanging out in that 560 milestone. Stefano, if you're up for taking a swing through the ones I already approved to from the non-trail bits people, feel free to merge anything that seems reasonable. And we'll try and cut 5.6 this week. So, okay.
Great.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. See you.
See you next time.